Hey everybody, welcome to my first ever podcast. Hopefully this is the first of many. For those of you who don't know me, my name is David Gutierrez. I'm 18 and I suffer from anxiety. And this is what this podcast is going to be about. A lot of people think that anxiety is something that is just not really common. A lot of people think that when people have anxiety, they're just overreacting. So in reality, what is anxiety? Well, anxiety isn't really just feeling nervous or feeling worried. It's not that typical feeling of, oh, I'm worried to do this. Oh, or like, oh, I'm nervous to talk to this person or something. It's not really just that. Anxiety is something that is inside of your brain. It is considered a mental disorder, usually caused by many things. The biggest things that really cause anxiety are genetics and the way that people have treated you and self-experiences, like things you have gone through, or just really what is in your DNA. And usually the most common thing when it comes to anxiety is what you go through. So what is anxiety? The dictionary definition of anxiety says that it is intense, excessive, and persistent worry and fear about everyday situations. Anxiety can be a normal thing in stressful situations such as public speaking or taking a test. Anxiety is only an indicator of underlying disease when feelings become excessive, all-consuming, and interfere with daily living. So what does this mean? If you have anxiety, your anxiety is hitting you when you say this to yourself. When you think, am I good enough for this? What could possibly go wrong? Why is this happening? Why am I scared that me being too happy could go somewhere wrong? There are many other thoughts that could come with anxiety. And the biggest things about anxiety are just fear and worry about everyday situations. And it could be about any little thing. It could be from the smallest thing, like the way that somebody said something to you, to the biggest thing, like, will I get accepted to this college, or will I get this job? Anxiety can be anywhere when you have anxiety. You could be having a conversation with somebody, and somebody can say something that does not really sound right to you, and you will question that. One of the biggest symptoms of anxiety is overthinking. What is overthinking? Overthinking is taking a situation and making it bigger than it has to be, whether in reality it is that big of a deal or if it isn't. A couple of examples, of overthinking are like what I just mentioned previously. Say you're talking to your partner and he or she says something in a way that you may think, oh my God, is he or she upset at me? Is he or she okay? Does he or she still love me? And it could be the simplest thing, like, why did she say that way? Why did she make the message so dry? Or just the smallest things, really, in a conversation. That's an example. You may think, why is this happening? Why does she feel this way? What does she feel? What is going on through her head? Did she have a bad day? Like, I'm saying this from my perspective. Did she have a bad day? What is going on? How long has she been feeling this way for me? If she is feeling the negative feeling that I believe she's feeling. You think many things and you make the situation bigger than it has to be. And that's where the fear and the worry comes in. The fear of, oh my God, will she leave me? Or, oh my God, will she begin to lose feelings for me? Is she beginning to lose feelings for me? Is she planning on leaving? Is she planning on taking a break? Or the worry of, I just hope she's okay. I hope everything in our relationship is going fine and she just did not mean to say it that way. You know, anxiety can come in many, many shapes or forms, and I could talk about this all day. But for our purposes right now, I'm going to try to make this as short as possible. So, in reality, anxiety is one of the most common things in teenagers and in young adults and in adults too. You know, it is, according to a recent study by the Mayo Clinic, it is said that children between the ages of 6 and 13-year-olds, it is very common for them to have anxiety. Teenagers from 14 to 18 years old, it is very, very common. Same with young adults from 19 years old to 40 years old. It is also something that is critical. Same with adults from the ages of 41 to 60. It is something that is also critical. Anxiety is seen as something critical in teenagers, in young adults, and in adults. You know, there are more than 3 million cases in the United States per year. And only 36.9% of people who have anxiety seek treatment. Now, what is treatment for anxiety? The 3 biggest ways to treat anxiety is by medication, taking antidepressants, or as I call them, happy pills, seeing excuse me, the word just left my head. Seeing a psychiatrist, or just going to therapy, or just self-help, figuring out something that you like and doing that thing to help you calm down, to help ease your nerves. And an example of that, at least for me as a musician, if I start feeling anxious, I'll either talk to my partner, I'll tell her what is going on and what I'm feeling or what I'm thinking and what is going on inside of my head. Or I will pick up an instrument in my room and just start playing. I'll play things that are not necessarily too harsh and fast and loud. I'll play something to calm me down, to calm my nerves, to ease my anxiety. That is my kind of self-help. Seeing a psychiatrist is also something that is really beneficial because you're openly talking about what you are feeling. And there are many contradictions to this, of course, but many people believe that if you talk about the way you're feeling, you're either just trying to seek attention, or that's really the biggest thing, that you're just trying to seek attention. And in reality, that's not really what it is. A lot of people acknowledge that talking openly about the way you feel to people who you trust, of course, is something good. It eases something off of your back. It makes you feel a sense of relief, as in, I was able to let that out. I feel good. And, you know, it's okay to talk to somebody about the way you're feeling. Because the worst possible thing you could do to yourself is to keep those feelings of anxiety in you and to hold them in. And I'm not saying it's bad for you to do this once. There will be occasions where you won't be able to talk to anybody, or where you won't be able to do self-help. There will be moments like that where you may have to hold it in. You may have to tough it out and be strong about it, and that's okay. That doesn't make you weak. That makes you strong. As long as you're not holding your anxiety and your feelings in forever, then you're good. But if you hold it all in you and you never address it with anybody, you never talk to anybody about the way you feel, that could really, really affect you in a very, very not so good way. You know, it is the worst possible thing. It's the most toxic and unhealthy thing you could do to your mental health, to keep those negative feelings inside of you. And this could be anything. This could be feelings of sadness, feelings of fear or worry, feelings of anger, or anything in reality that is negative. Any of those feelings, if you keep those inside of you, it's like a snowball. It keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then suddenly, without you even realizing it, it feels as if you just have an elephant on your shoulders, and it's hard for you to carry it. Now, if you do happen to have that elephant on your shoulders, is it possible for you to be able to let it go? Yes, it is. By what I said, the 3 biggest ways to control your anxiety, which are medication, speaking to somebody, and self-help. Like I said, through medication, this does not mean drug abuse. This is not what it means. Through medication, a way you could control your anxiety is having a prescription assigned to you by a doctor of antidepressants, where you use your medication as you should, regularly, and not overusing it. Speaking to somebody, speaking to a psychologist, a psychiatrist, or speaking to a friend, speaking to your partner, speaking to your parents, your teachers, someone who you trust. It could be anybody. Speaking to them about your problems will really, really, really ease the tension off of your shoulders. And the last one, self-help. Doing something that you love, something that relaxes you, something that makes you feel good. Just be careful. Do not do something that harms you, that makes you feel good. Be careful about what you decide to do to make you feel good. Anxiety is something that is unhealthy, and the worst thing to possibly do is to feel good with something that is unhealthy. Say drugs or alcohol, or stuffing yourself with junk food. Self-help can be described in many different ways. Self-help could be going out and doing a hobby, say if you play sports, or staying in and playing your musical instrument if you're a musician, or singing, or watching a movie, or doing anything that makes you feel good and something that actually helps you. That is self-help. And the biggest things with anxiety too is just your mentality. You need to know how to deal with your stress and anxiety, and there's a lot of things that you should take into account. With your mind, you should know and accept that you cannot control everything. You cannot control what other people think of you. You cannot control what other people think in general, or what people may say behind your back. That is something that, as much as you want to control, it is not possible. But don't let this get in the way of you feeling good. When you feel, hey, what if they think bad about me? What if they're talking trash behind my back? When you start to get those feelings of worrying, you just have to know that you can't control what they think. And whatever they think is their fault, because you are an amazing human being. And they should not. They have no reason to think otherwise about you. So do not feel bad if somebody says something that they don't like about you. Either they're doing it because of jealousy, or just because they are just total pieces of trash. And And alongside with the mind, you just have to do your best every day. You have to, if you're doing a task, if you're doing your homework, if you're doing a test, if you're in a relationship, if you have a really close friendship, you must always do your best so that the best can come out. Because you always reap what you sow. And, you must always just try to do your best. And you should always try your best to maintain a positive attitude. Examples of positive mindsets, say, are growth mindsets, or you reassuring yourself, saying like, today I'm going to have a really good day, or today I'm really going to ace that test, or today I'm really going to fix that situation that I'm in. Or growth mindset, saying, I may not be good at what I'm doing right now, but if I keep at this, I know I'll be good at it eventually. And if I work hard, I know that I will succeed. You must always, always, always have a positive attitude when you have your anxiety. It is a big thing, and it really, really helps. Trust me. When it comes to your body, the physical aspect, or what you put inside of your body, or what your body emits, you must always limit caffeine, or if you drink, you must limit alcohol. Because alcohol and caffeine can really affect anxiety and trigger panic attacks. Just drink water. I do it. When I have anxiety, I drink tons of water. Water helps me, and it hydrates you, and it's really good for you. It really helps. And then just eat healthy. Eat something that is well balanced. Don't stuff yourself with chips or ice cream or your favorite In-N-Out combo. You could. Just be careful the way you do it. Because you must always have energy when you have anxiety, because the only thing that can get you out of the anxiety is to have the energy to push yourself out of it, because it's not an easy task. It's easy to get yourself anxious when you have anxiety, but it's the hardest thing to get out of it. It is something that I consider very difficult till this day. I have the answers. We all do. But it is still very hard because your mind contradicts what you want to feel. Be sure that you get enough sleep. Sleep is something that is very, very good for you. Sleep just in general is just very good for you. At least 8 hours of sleep. This doesn't mean sleep in until 4 p.m. That is not good. That can cause depression if it is overdone. Or this doesn't also mean sleep for 3 hours, go to sleep at 5 a.m. and wake up at 8. No, sleep 8 to 10 hours. That is the most healthy thing you could do for your anxiety, to make you feel good, so you can have a good sleep, so you can wake up well rested and with lots and lots of energy for a good, bright, productive day. And if you exercise, keep doing that. It is very good for you, because it can make you feel good, and it can just maintain your health in a good way, in a good spot. And, you must always prioritize self-care when it comes to your mind and your body. Because if you just don't care, it can really, really affect you in a negative way. Action that you could do. Things you could do when you're starting to feel anxious, when you're having an anxiety attack, when you're having a panic attack, when your anxiety is slowly beginning to creep up on you before it's hit its climax. Just be sure to take deep breaths to slow your heart rate. You could also slowly count to 10 and be patient. Don't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm done. Because when you have anxiety, everything feels like it's going by fast. Very fast. So you need to calm yourself down. You need to sit down and think, okay, 1, 2, and so on. You know, you could take some time for yourself. It's not selfish to care about yourself. It's not selfish to say, oh, I'm going to have these 30 minutes to myself so I can calm down. Like I said, self-help. Self-help is not selfish. If it helps you and it makes you feel good and calms down your anxiety, go for it. That's fine. It's good for you. And it helps you calm down, which is very good. And like I said, really, you just have to know when your anxiety hits you so that you can automatically think, what can you do? Obviously, it's going to be hard because you're going to be thinking those negative thoughts that I addressed in the beginning of the podcast. But you have to simultaneously think, oh, what can I do so I can calm down? And will it be hard? Yes, it will. Will you fail a couple times? Yes, you will. But hey, you have anxiety, and that doesn't make you weak. It makes you strong. People who have anxiety and live day by day with anxiety are some of the strongest people that I know. There are people who don't worry. There are people who don't overthink. There are people who don't fear about what other people might say. There are people who are very able to talk to anybody because they don't feel shy. And man, I really wish I was that person, because I'm not. I'm the complete opposite of all of those. And is anxiety hard? Yes. But are you able to overcome it? Yes. Is it difficult? Yes. But is it possible to overcome it? Yes, it is. You know, there will be a point in time where, as I like to call it, you'll be able to tame your anxiety. You'll be able to see it. It's going to come at you like a bullet, and you'll be able to stop it. You know, is there a cure for anxiety? No. But is there a treatment? Yes. And you must always prioritize yourself, especially when you are not feeling so good. So this brings me to the end of the podcast. You must always prioritize self-care. You must always care about yourself. This doesn't mean let everything around you just let it go. Obviously, still care about your friends, your family, your significant other, your school, grades, and just everything around you. But taking time for yourself isn't selfish. It is actually very good for you because it makes you feel good. And anything that makes you feel good is good for you. Just remember that you're special, you are strong, and that anxiety doesn't make you weak. Always remember those 3 things, and always live your day with a positive attitude. And it might be hard. Yes, it is very hard sometimes. Some days you'll have really good days, and some days you'll have really bad days, but don't let those bad days define you. Always know how you can progress. So I just want to thank you guys so much for sticking with me to the end of the podcast. If you guys have any questions, you could always just reach out to me. Send me a DM on Instagram, or if you have me on Snapchat, you can always just message me at any time. And if you have any questions on anxiety, if you have any questions on how to address it, any more questions or something that I may have not covered here, feel free to ask me. I'm available all the time, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. So thank you so much for being part of this podcast with me, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So we'll see you soon on the next podcast. Stay safe, everybody.